Hey, once again, everyone, it's the midweek edition of Weather for Weather Geeks. It's the 29th day of July. We've only got 2 more days left in the month. And what a month it has been. It has been a toasty one. And while today was a toasty day, it wasn't all that humid. Wanted to start out this evening looking at the last 20 hours worth of dew points. Of course, the more comfortable air pushed in yesterday. We had a comfortable night last night. And then those dew points, they rose a few degrees today. But hey, lower 60s is still better than lower 70s, which is where we were not long ago. I've been looking through some weather records lately, trying to find some interesting nuggets. And, we talk about dew points a lot, of course, in the summer season. And in our vicinity, in our climate zone, generally we consider dew points over 70 to be pretty tropical feeling. Well, it can get a lot more humid than that. And back in the summer of 1995, if you're a longtime local resident, you remember this heat wave, no doubt. During the middle of the summer that year, on July 15th at 6 p.m., we had a dew point of 81 degrees at the Youngstown Warren Airport. There were actually several hours on July 14th and July 15th in which the dew point was in the upper 70s to around 80 degrees. That was a doozy of a heat wave. This is the same heat wave that unfortunately led to a lot of fatalities in Chicago, and there were a lot of problems with the heat that summer across the Midwest, the Ohio Valley as well. The big problem in really significant heat waves tends to be the overnight lows not dropping very much. So the daytime highs are bad enough, but when it hardly cools off at all at night, you can get some big problems in a hurry, and that's what happened in the summer of 1995. All right, so looking at July of 2020 temperature-wise across our area, of course, this is going to go into the record books as one of the hottest Julys on record. Right now, it's the 6th warmest in our warmest July since 1949. We did 87 at the airport today. Only 2 cooler than average high temperatures this month. It was 79 for a high on the 11th and the 13th. Every other day this month we have seen highs in the 80s and the 90s. All right, good looking day overall today with the warmth. It was a great sunrise in Niles this morning. We've got some WASP friends showing up here on this time lapse from our Niles camera. It's that time of the year that our cameras, which of course tend to be perched up a little bit on some of our local billboards. That's a good place for wasps to hang out. And so this one, the Boardman camera and the Columbiana camera all tend to get a lot of wasps hanging out nearby at this time of the year. All right, we have a weak front sliding across Lake Erie this evening. There's been a few showers and storms over the lake. These are dissipating for the most part this evening. We may get grazed by a couple of showers, a couple of stray raindrops, maybe up towards, Kinsman and Greenville, places like that, but that's not going to be much of a big deal at all this evening. I'm expecting a largely dry period as we head through the overnight. All right, back down to the tropics. This storm is still having a hard time getting its act together. This is future ISAIAS, across the Caribbean to kind of, get your bearings here. Here's Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, Cuba, down here South America, and this still does not have a very good low-level circulation. To get a name, to really start taking this thing a little more seriously, the hurricane hunters really need to find evidence that there's a true circulation center down in the lower levels of this system, and so far it's just been having a hard time attaining that. Now, it'll probably still happen as we head through the overnight, and it will get a name. Officially, this is not named ISAIAS just yet, but it will be once they find that circulation. That probably happens tonight and maybe tomorrow morning. Now, where does this go from here? It'll be interesting to see what impacts this has, or what impacts, I should say, the track has on the intensity, because this may go over some mountainous terrain. Hispaniola, that's a mountainous island chain through there, and what kind of shape this is in once it emerges just to the south of the Bahamas by tomorrow night and Friday, it'll be interesting to see. So odds do not favor this becoming a hurricane at this point because of the interaction with land. But friends and relatives down in Florida, got to keep an eye on this. This may be a brief weather problem across Florida with wind and rain. Thankfully, the forward speed of this will probably prevent it from being too much of a flood producer across Florida. That's the way it looks right now. All right, back here at home, this front, it's a real weak one. It's hardly worth drawing on a weather map, but it'll be still in the vicinity on Thursday, and therefore I can't totally rule out an afternoon shower. It's hardly worth mentioning in the forecast, but it's a 10 to 20% coverage kind of a thing. Tomorrow, late afternoon, early evening, if you see a stray raindrop, you're going to be, well, depending on which way you want to look at it, either lucky or unlucky. The odds are not very high of seeing raindrops, in other words. Tomorrow afternoon, mix of sun and clouds on Friday, and then, the weekend forecast is starting to trend a little bit wetter. As this low pressure system starts tracking north and east, a lot of Saturday will be dry, but I think clouds will increase and rain chances will increase as we go into Saturday evening and especially into Saturday night and into Sunday morning as well. Our computer model spread right now with rainfall totals over the weekend. European model is the wettest with about an inch. GFS model suite is closer to half an inch. And most of this, again, would be Saturday nights and heading into Sunday. I think there's a little too much blue here on this map here locally next week. I think we're pretty close to average for a lot of our temperatures next week, but it doesn't look like a hot pattern, that is for sure. The heat will be bottled up out west across the Four Corners region for us. I think we're going to see a lot of high temperatures near average next week, and some of our forecasts next week may depend on what happens with the tropical system in the Caribbean. We may not see direct impacts from that tropical system. In other words, the remnants may not cross our area, but its track will influence other weather systems across the lower 48 states. And so it's kind of a low confidence forecast for precipitation chances next week, but it's a pretty high confidence forecast that it does not look like a very warm first week of August. And I've been talking about that in editions of Weather for Weather Geeks this week. Thank you for watching this edition of the Valley's most in-depth weather forecast video. We'll have an update on everything you need to know about our weekend weather and much more tomorrow evening, same time, same place.